Development and implementation of digital technologies for survivability and lethality testing. Sector 224. Assessment and correction of deficiencies in the pilot breathing systems of tactical fighter aircraft. Sector 225. Identification of the hypersonics facilities and capabilities of the Major Range and Test Facility Base. Sector 226. Review of artificial intelligence applications and establishment of performance metrics. Sector 227. Modification of the Joint Common Foundation Program. Sector 228. Executive education on emerging technologies for senior civilian and military leaders. Sector 229. Activities to accelerate development and deployment of dual-use quantum technologies. Sector 230. National Guard participation in microreactor testing and evaluation. Sector 231. Pilot program on the use of private sector partnerships to promote technology transition. Sector 232. Pilot program on data repositories to facilitate the development of artificial intelligence capabilities for the Department of Defense. Sector 233. Pilot programs for deployment of telecommunications infrastructure to facilitate 5G deployment on military installations. Sector 234. Limitation on development of prototypes for the optionally manned fighting vehicle pending requirements analysis. Sector 235. Limitation on transfer of certain operational flight test events and reductions in operational flight test capacity. Sector 236. Limitation on availability of funds for certain C-130 aircraft. Sector 237. Limitation on availability of funds for VC-25B aircraft program pending submission of documentation. Sector 238. Limitation on availability of funds for the high-accuracy detection and exploitation system. Subtitle C plans, reports, and other matters. Sector 241. Modification to Annual Report of the Director of Operational Test and Evaluation. Sector 242. Adaptive Engine Transition Program Acquisition Strategy for the F-35A aircraft. Sector 243. Acquisition strategy for an advanced propulsion system for F-35B and F-35C aircraft. Sector 244. Assessment of the development and test enterprise of the Air Force Research Laboratory. Sector 245. Study on efficient use of Department of Defense test and evaluation organizations, facilities, and laboratories. Sector 246. Report on autonomy integration in major weapon systems. Sector 247. Reports and briefings on recommendations of the National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence regarding the Department of Defense. Title III Operation and Maintenance. Subtitle A Authorization of Appropriations. Sector 301. Authorization of Appropriations. Subtitle B Energy and Environment. Sector 311. Inclusion of impacts on military installation resilience in the National Defense Strategy and associated documents. Sector 312. Energy efficiency targets for Department of Defense data centers. Sector 313. Grants for maintaining or improving military installation resilience. Sector 314. Maintenance of current analytical tools in evaluating energy resilience measures. Sector 315. Authority to transfer amounts derived from energy cost savings. Sector 316. Exemption from prohibition on use of open-air burn pits in contingency operations outside the United States. Sector 317. Expansion of purposes of Sentinel Landscapes Partnership Program to include resilience. Sector 318. Inspection of piping and support infrastructure at Red Hill Bulk Fuel Storage Facility, Hawaii. Sector 319. Energy, water, and waste net zero requirement for major military installations. Sector 320. Demonstration program on domestic production of rare earth elements from coal byproducts. Sector 321. Long-duration demonstration initiative and joint program. Sector 322. Pilot program to test new software to track emissions at certain military installations. Sector 323. Department of Defense plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Subtitle C National Security Climate Resilience. Sector 331. Definitions. Sector 332. Climate Resilience Infrastructure Initiative of the Department of Defense. Sector 333. Inclusion of information regarding extreme weather and cyber attacks or disruptions in reports on national technology and industrial base. Sector 334. Climate resilience in planning, engagement strategies, infrastructure, and force development of Department of Defense. Sector 335. Assessment of climate risks to infrastructure of Department of Defense. Subtitle D Treatment of perfluoroalkyl substances and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Sector 341. Treatment by Department of Defense of perfluoroalkyl substances and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Sector 342. Extension of transfer authority for funding of study and assessment on health implications of per and polyfluoroalkyl substances contamination in drinking water by Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. Sector 343. Temporary moratorium on incineration by Department of Defense of perfluoroalkyl substances, polyfluoroalkyl substances, and aqueous film-forming foam. Sector 344. Review and guidance relating to prevention and mitigation of spills of aqueous film-forming foam. Sector 345. Public disclosure of results of Department of Defense testing of water for perfluoroalkyl or polyfluoroalkyl substances. Sector 346. Review of agreements with non-department entities with respect to prevention and mitigation of spills of aqueous film-forming foam. Sector 347. Controller General's study on Department of Defense procurement of certain items containing certain PFAS substances. Sector 348. Report on schedule for completion of remediation of perfluoroalkyl substances and polyfluoroalkyl substances. Sector 349. Report on remediation of perfluoroalkyl substances and polyfluoroalkyl substances at certain military installations. Subtitle E Logistics and Sustainment. Sector 351. Mitigation of contested logistics challenges of the Department of Defense through reduction of operational energy demand. Sector 352. Global Bulk Fuel Management and Delivery. Sector 353. Test and evaluation of potential bio-based solution for corrosion control and mitigation. Sector 354. Pilot program on digital optimization of organic industrial base maintenance and repair operations. Sector 355. Improved oversight for implementation of shipyard infrastructure optimization program of the Navy. Sector 356. Report and certification requirements regarding sustainment costs for fighter aircraft programs. Sector 357. Controller General Annual Reviews of F-35 Sustainment Efforts. Subtitle F Reports. Sector 361. Inclusion of information regarding borrowed military manpower in readiness reports. Sector 362. Annual Report on Material Readiness of Navy Ships. Sector 363. Incident reporting requirements for Department of Defense regarding lost or stolen weapons. Sector 364. Strategy and Annual Report on Critical Language Proficiency of Special Operations Forces. Subtitle G Other Matters. Sector 371. Military Aviation and Installation Assurance Clearinghouse Matters. Sector 372. Establishment of Joint Safety Council. Sector 373. Improvements and clarifications related to military working dogs. Sector 374. Extension of temporary authority to extend contracts and leases under the ARMS initiative. Sector 375. Authority to maintain access to Category 3 subterranean training facility. Sector 376. Accident Investigation Review Board. Sector 300.